Hi, everyone. How's it going? Thank you so much for tuning in to our second Creek Show virtual artist talk. Today, I'm really excited. We're going to be talking to Team 1909B. They were the creators of Aurora from Creek Show 2019 last year. Um, yeah, I'm really excited to chat with them today. My name's Homer Gonzalez. I'm the communications coordinator for Waterloo Greenway. Um, if you joined us yesterday, we had a really great virtual artist talk with Corey Beeg. He talked about the Creek Zipper, and we have a whole lineup of more virtual artist talks throughout the week. So this is Aurora of Creek Show 2019. Today, I'll be talking to Will Powell, Brooks Anderson, Midge Flora, and James Holiday. Hi, y'all.
Hey, Homer.
Hey.
So, tell me a little bit about y'all's experience creating Aurora last year.
Yeah, maybe I can just start off by quickly introducing the project, and then we can turn it over to these guys who probably know a whole lot more about it than I do. But I think when we decided we wanted to do something for Creek Show, we really wanted to do something that was a bit of a reflection on Waller Creek itself. And we were particularly interested in how the creek kind of avoided any specific categorization. So for example, to the city, it's this like very precisely tuned piece of urban infrastructure. And to the Conservancy, it's, you know, this oasis, this, you know, public green space. And then also to wildlife and, you know, the birds and the fish and whatever else that lives there. It's a place to live and a refuge. And it's all of these things at once. So we were really wanting to create something that amplified the kind of subtle tension and beauty that is created by the tenuous balance between all of these different realities. So that was our initial concept. And then the kind of form we landed on was this grid of 72 identical luminaires kind of imposed on the bed of the creek. And this has like a very kind of harsh electrical nature, which is contrasted by the sort of soft flow of water and like the sound of like the wind in the trees. So that was the basic idea.
That's awesome. Yeah, I remember the sound effects. It really just added to, you know, the whole experience of walking through them. Here's another great photo. So yeah, you know, with Creek Show and past artists, it's really interesting to kind of hear about some of the challenges, you know, from the design and installation process. Do you all have any stories you'd like to share about that experience?
Sure. Or James, you want to start?
Yeah, thanks, Mitch.
I saw you going for the unmute.
You're on mute, James.
Now you're muted.
Sorry. Let's try that again. I think the interesting thing about 1909B is that we are all just a group of friends that decided to do this as something fun and maybe a little bit too ambitious for what we could go after. And basically every person just brought a specific skill set or interest to the project and took up a variety of tasks associated with that. So it was really, more than anything, a really fruitful collaboration between everyone just kind of hanging out and trying to solve the massive problem of making this thing a reality. So yeah, there were numerous challenges. Maybe Mitch would like to talk about some of those.
Yeah, we have some cool photos of this process too.
Yeah, you can see, I mean, this image sums up a lot of the stuff. There's a lot of trial and error. We did ourselves a little bit of a service of keeping the luminaire as a single design piece and then replicating it over and over again. So at least for our set of skills, we were able to kind of hone in on this one design, and then from there kind of build it over and over again, which kind of led to its own challenges of doing the same task multiple times. But as James alluded to, we had 7 or 8 people on the team total. So as a future advice, I guess, for any other teams, having that manpower to freight it is really valuable. But yeah.
I think it's also important to note, and one of the challenges is that I think everyone pretty much gave up their home at one point to become an assembly area for the piece. My backyard became the area in which we welded all of the steel posts, so had to build out like a jig and everything on the back steps and try to comfort our neighbors that no fires would be started or anything like that. I think Mitch turned his living room into an electrical assembly line, right?
Oh yeah, our kitchen counter was a workbench for a long time.
I thought you guys were gonna tell this story of the overambitious tow truck drivers that we were fighting for a few days.
Yeah, that was pretty wild. I also want to talk a little bit about kind of the difficulties we had of actually one setting up and then also just kind of manning our station every day. So obviously setting up 72 luminaires in a grid in a creek bed presented its own challenges of like making sure everything was level and everything lined up properly. Mitch and I spent probably a good day and a half just like fine tuning all these lights. And yeah, every single night we would kind of have to set up everything, and then we would show up at the start like a few hours before creek show, and like some of the lights would have been like blown over, so we had to quickly jump in the creek and replace those. So it was a lot of work, not just like in the months leading up to creek show, but just the nature of our design and how we kind of shot ourselves in the foot there. We had to be there every single night to make sure that everything was working properly. But I would say that it was worth it.
I think it's also important to note that an important feature of this design is that each light could be individually controlled in relation to the rest of the grid. So each one actually has its own electrical control wire going to it, and then the rest are linked together via single, well, 3 different power sources. Is that right, Will?
It was like 6.
It was like 6 different. Yeah. Oh my goodness. I think by the end of the day, we ended up putting down 2 miles worth of wire. Is that what it came down to?
It was over 3.
Over 3.
Miles of
I'm
wire.
just wrong. I know.
Yeah.
Anyway, every night when we plugged it in and it turned on, we would breathe a sigh of relief, just because there are so many points where fragile components could not work, and it ended up going really well over the course of the 2 weeks.
And we tested, like, I don't know, before Creek Show itself, we tested maybe 5 lights at a time, maybe 6. So getting everything set up in the like creek, that was our first kind of run of how the program worked and how like all the lights actually functioned together. So it felt pretty risky of like, all right, is this actually going to work? And yeah, it thankfully did. Otherwise it would have been very bad.
Yeah, it worked and it turned out so amazing. Here's another aerial shot from one of the bridges over Waller Creek.
Yeah, I do want to add, Brooks mentioned we were there every night. So on this picture, like up on the hill behind the tree canopy, we had a booth set up, and every night we had at least 2 or 3 of us there. And the way we set up the system of the lights is we could kind of switch it from an automated to manual setup. So as we're up there, our sound engineer, Zach, or our computer coder, Bruno, could basically flip a switch and start experimenting on the fly, taking different inputs of, we had a mic set up in the brush there, of kind of amplifying the sounds of people walking by and putting that as an input into the lights. So there's a really kind of fun, almost sandbox effect that we got to really kind of create on the fly and continue experimenting throughout the week.
That's awesome. Here's another great shot. So yeah, like last year was it was our biggest Creek show that we've ever had since 2014. About 60,000 people throughout the event came and explored all these installations that we had. So what was that kind of experience like, seeing people interact with the piece?
It was pretty interesting, especially those first couple nights, because we spent so long just like building this thing and kind of making it our own, that having the public actually interact and see it was a little nerve-wracking at the beginning, because it felt like we were kind of like, I don't know, giving away our baby to the public. And it was a very interesting reaction, and I think we all had towards it. But then we start to like have a lot of fun with it. We would see people like try to interact with the exhibit in a way, like they would clap to try to see if their clapping would alter any of the lights, and we would mess with people. We would like turn off the lights all of a sudden, and they would think that they somehow caused it, and then we turn it back on. So I don't know, it was a lot of fun to actually see people get involved, and each night was so different too, of how the crowd would interact. And I don't know, it was a ton of fun getting to work on it.
Yeah, I think one moment for me when I really realized we had, kind of succeeded in what we had set out to do is when we were in the booth and we saw like over the course of like 4 hours or something, basically the whole night, just like this one couple just sit there and like watch our installation. And I don't know, something about that really like I found really satisfying. You could just sit there for that period of time and just like be in this ambient environment.
Yeah, definitely. And it's really rewarding for us too, just to see people exploring Waller Creek and Waterloo Greenway for the first time. There's a lot of people that were unaware of this green space in Austin, and so that's one of the major reasons why we do Creek shows, just to raise awareness about the creek restoration that we were doing with the city of Austin. So yeah, it's so awesome just to, like, to y'all's point about just to see how differently people interact with it every night. I remember one night I was out there, somebody was doing handstands, just kind of, they were like walking on their hands along that bridge, and it was just really cool to see that. So for artists that are interested in applying or maybe watching this and are just kind of have their brains on, like, what am I going to submit for next year? What kind of tips do y'all have as far as the submission process and then the actual like fabrication process as well? Any words of wisdom for future Creek Show artists?
Well, I think one of the strengths of our work, but also one of the things that was just most frustrating about it, is that in many ways we bit off more than we could chew, or at least we didn't know to the sort of like the scope that this project would take on. And we put a lot of time into it and put a lot of effort into it. And I think that I would want to encourage other teams to just be as ambitious as possible and to try to do as much as you can yourself and not really shop it out to other people, either in terms of the assembly of it on site or even the manufacturing of the components. I think it was really great to see it through from the first drawings to putting it together to the end result. And I hope that that came through to everyone who experienced it.
Awesome. Well, before we wrap up here, is there anything else that y'all want to add?
Maybe just that it was a really good and challenging experience for all of us. I know we're all like kind of, either in like design or engineering kind of professions, and the whole team is in our early 20s. So the opportunity to do something like this that, has public exposure and is for a good cause and kind of challenges us to learn new skills was just a really great experience, and definitely something we're glad we were a part of.
Awesome. Yeah, we're so grateful to have you all too. And thank you all so much for doing this virtual artist talk with us. We really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thanks so much, Omar.
Thanks.
Yeah, thanks for having us.
Thanks. So that's it for today. Right after this, I'm going to be chatting with Scott Specht of Specht Architects. We're going to be chatting about his installation volume for Creek Show 2015, I believe. Stay tuned for more conversations with past Creek Show artists throughout the rest of the week. We have our full lineup at creekshow.com. And don't forget to check out the illuminated Moody Amphitheater at Waterloo Park through Sunday, November 22nd, from 6 to 10 p.m. every night. While this year's Creek Show will not take place in its traditional in-person format, we're so excited to invite the community to drive along Red River Street to check out Waterloo Park and the Moody Amphitheater lit up at night. It's a really amazing sight to see, and we really encourage you all to come check it out. Special thanks to BBVA, 3M, The Word Company, and Waterloo Media for helping us commemorate the creative, cultural, and imaginative legacy of Creek Show. Thank you all so much again for tuning in. Thank you all, 1909B. You all are awesome. We'll see you again next time. See y'all.